Hello, patrons. There's still just four of you, but I'm going to continue to hope there will be more soon. I am not alone in this room, which is a good, I think. I think it's good not to be alone in the room when you're talking to the camera because I don't know. Okay, this is going to be a two-part video. The first part, I want to tell you about an encounter I had, more of an experience, afternoon, an evening, if you will, about 2-3 days ago. And then we're going to end with, of course, why you people probably are giving me money. I don't know. I sent a direct message to 3 out of the 4 of you, and none of you got back to me. Not like I asked you, hey, why did you subscribe? I just said thanks. But anyway, I'm acting like this is a direct message to you because I'm posting this link on my Patreon. It's going to be the first link that I post. But before it was a Patreon link, it was a YouTube video. It is a YouTube video. So for any of my YouTube people, it'd be nice to see a comment. You know, how do you know me? Who do you think I am? Are you invested? And what's your favorite color? Okay, so today is Thursday, December 18th, 5:53 p.m. And on, I want to say Tuesday, possibly Monday evening, I was in a position with an open evening on Instagram, as I often am. And it's always good when I feel that Instagram has so many negative things to it that, you know, and I use it. I'm a user of Instagram, and I'm not looking to not be a user of Instagram. So it's always nice when I can extract something positive for Instagram. And I saw someone's story, and it was like this this medium-sized stadium, and that matters for the context. And I was like, what is this? What's going on? It's soccer. I used to play soccer. I love soccer. I like to watch soccer. And it looked pretty professional, packed stadium. And I go, okay, this is an NC State men's soccer game. Never really sat through one of those. I have an open evening, and my bicycle is staring at me, and it's been a long time since I rode it, and it's fully charged. Time to go to the game. Now, on the way to the game, I already had a bit of an idea about sort of what I was heading into. It probably costs money to get in, right? That's A. And B, this stadium is like a hybrid between a high school venue. I don't know how to say this. It's not, there's not going to be a lot. Basically, I was going to try and get in for free. So that's the whole idea. And I was thinking about it the whole bike ride over, just in the back of my head, like, I'm not going to pay to get in here. Don't have a lot of money. I need all the money. I can't spend any money right now. I need it. And we'll get to that. But there's we'll do 4 things. 4 things that happened throughout my evening that kind of brings the motif, the mood of the story together, if you will. And I don't know what, the conclusion is going to be yet, but we have to get through the meat to get the prize. And the first thing happened when I rolled up on my bike. Mind you, I had passed so many cars. I'm feeling so good about not only myself, but like the world, because I don't know what, I was feeling great about myself because I was like, why am I not seeing any other bikes? Like, these people are going to not only miss the start of this soccer game, but they're going to probably not even get into the stadium before halftime. I mean, the cars were so backed up. I would come to find later that this is the NCAA men's final for the whole country happening in Cary, North Carolina. And that's why I was so excited. Big stakes. I was just excited to have a fun evening. And your boy was not going to pay $1, but that comes later. First things first, I got to park my bicycle, right? So as you do with a bicycle, because I'm not in a car, you take full advantage of the circumstance. There's a reason that I froze to death. It wasn't pleasant. It was like 15 degrees or something crazy. And like, being on a bicycle, the wind, it's shocking. You're like, I didn't have a beanie on. I had a helmet on for safety, and my ears were like, freezing up, and my whole chin was numb and everything. But with pain and sacrifice comes reward. And I cut that line, baby. I probably turned what would have been an hour sitting in my car into 5 minutes. So I took that thing all the way to the very front gates, all the way to the point I didn't get off my bike until I was literally as close as you could possibly get without someone saying, whoa, 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 you can't take your bike into the stadium, if that makes sense. I mean, I was right there at the ticket gates where they scan the tickets. And I hop off my bike, and the first thing I notice about this woman is there's no, she doesn't seem to be wearing any sort of uniform. And the first thing she says to me is, you can't ride your bike here. And I told this story to my brother, and he said, well, were you on like a pedestrian path? Were you and I was on asphalt, not on sidewalk. I was on a road, and the part of the road that I was on was actually blocked off from cars because it was so close to a sidewalk. I was to the side. Now, I guess maybe in review, she might have meant, maybe that was like a pedestrian area. Maybe that's what she meant. But I looked at her, and the first thing I said is the first thing I thought, which is a practice that I try to uphold. And it was, what are you talking about? Or maybe, what do you mean? And she repeated the same thing back to me, and I said, okay, we're not getting anywhere. And so I said, to the stadium? And then I said, what, is there no bike racks? And she was like, this is a car-only event. You can't bike here. And then I say, whoa, 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 whoa. A car-only event. Lady. And then I start to have a little bit of fun where honestly I probably shouldn't have been having fun. And I repeat the same thing I said initially, like, what do you mean? Pro tip, if you're ever in a social interaction in which you think might not be going in your favor, you can always just default to what do you mean? As you try to, in your head, figure out what the hell you're going to do, you can just repeat over and over again, what do you mean? Because someone that doesn't know what's happening cannot be at fault. Moving forward, I start to get the picture, and, through past experience, I would say, BS. Ain't no way this is a car-only event. And then she hits me with the, stay right there, I'm going to get someone. And I'm like, lady, what do you think you're doing here? And I'm like, okay, I did not stay right there. You got to tell me what to do. I walked about 5 steps, and I just chained my bike up. And behind me, I heard someone she got, and I turn around, and I'm like, hello? And he's like, tells the lady, dude, he can bike here. You could, it's fine. He called the lady off. And I don't know what was going on, but that was like that gave me a lot of confidence. That was like my first win of the night. Not only was I right, but I never even doubted myself for 1 second. I love my bicycle and I love biking places, and I'll be damned if I get told by someone I can't bike somewhere. What are we doing? What are we doing? Just because you don't see a lot of bicycles doesn't mean they're not allowed. Matter of fact, that whole event would have, everyone should have biked moving forward. So now I come to the point where it's like, okay, my bike's chained. I'm walking into the stadium, and I'm this is probably where I take my first and probably last L of the night. They're going to say, I imagine myself, looking kind of stupid and be like, oh, wait, I need a ticket. Can I buy one here? And they're going to be like, no, idiot. And then I'm just going to turn around and go home. Big whoop. Maybe I'll get to see the inside of the stadium. Maybe that'll be, or maybe maybe I'll try the main entrance first. That's another big thing I've been doing lately. Is I felt like I get older, you kind of just deal with what you got. The other day I had to get back home, and I wanted to go the shortest way, and I was hoping I would be able to cross this creek, that the water wouldn't be too high, but it was so high, and there was no rocks, no place to cross. And I kind of just dealt with what I got, and I crossed the creek, something I would have never done when I was younger. But why? I would have had an easier time doing when I was younger. I felt like I was at risk of slipping and falling. I was so much less agile than I probably used to be. But moving forward, I dealt with what I had. And what I had is the entrance that I saw. You could case a place, right? But you also have to remember, what is the result of circling a venue with the intent of getting in for free? And I know myself pretty well. And if I would have circled that place, I think I would have, I might have found some place, but say I didn't find an entry point for free, then I would have came back to the front entrance and I would have felt suspicious, if that makes sense. I would have like felt, and when you feel away, you act away. Fun fact, that's very true. So I thought, well, while I'm here, while I can see the front entrance, while I've parked my bike and beat this lady in her own game, I got a little bit of confidence. I'm headed straight to the front entrance, baby. Nobody's stopping me. I had no plan. I just was getting in line, and this is the way you do things. Everything does not have to have a plan. All around me, all these people had plans. They were, some people were really pissed off because their family was walking way too far behind them. Some people were like, do you have tickets? Do you have tickets? I passed because my only plan was to move forward. I just breezed through the crowd. I'm just one person. I just eased right through. All of a sudden, I'm like right up there. And it's 5 people scanning tickets. And you got to talk to someone that scans tickets and they let you through. And I'm standing there and I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. Not feeling suspicious, not feeling guilty, not feeling anything other but than curious. And curiosity got me far, ladies and gentlemen, because I saw this gap. I saw, okay, in front of me on the right side, we have a man and another man. And that one man looks like he has the tickets for both men. And to the left of me is a family of 4 who is, not going to finish as fast as these 2 men. These 2 men, there's nothing better than one guy if you want to be in efficiency moving through a crowd. But the next best thing is 2 guys, right? So I'm looking at these 2 guys and I'm like, these guys are going to breeze right through this ticket stop. And if I just position myself behind this guy, but to the left of the ticket dude, then maybe, just maybe, these 2 dudes will walk in right before the family and I can slip in and this ticket guy will think I'm part of the family and this ticket girl will think I got scanned in by these 2 guys. And it's almost like I knew it was going to work right when I conceived the idea. And ladies and gentlemen, it worked and I got in there and I was like, yo, I just got in here for free. Tickets are probably $30 minimum. And now I'm on to my next that's sort of like, okay, I was curious about entry and now it's over. So now what am I curious about? How does the seating in this venue work? Immediately I realized it just appears as if this venue has been oversold. The seats are filled and you can tell everyone sitting in the seat has been there since 30 minutes, an hour before kickoff. I mean, I still had yet to Google the significance of the game. I knew it was somewhere in the finals because, you could just sort of tell this was some sort of playoff, something like that. But I didn't know it was the grand NCAA champ. I mean, the ESPN was there. It was pretty crazy. And I'm thinking, did they sell more tickets than there are seats? Like what? Like how did this fly? Because people are on people's shoulders. You don't see this kind of thing that much these days anymore, I feel. Where to get a view of the field, you kind of have to like weasel in front of people. And so I just sort of take my first option, and that's like, well, if I stand up on this little like ramp for wheelchairs, then I can see kind of between these people's shoulders, and I can see about half the field, and that's good enough for me. The ticket was free. I'm watching the game, and I'll just stay here till halftime. And 5 minutes till halftime, this lady comes and she's like, you can't stand here, but there's like hundreds of us standing there, and everyone, as she tells you not to stand there, she goes to the next guy, and then everyone just comes back to where they were standing. I mean, this place was nuts. So I said I had 4 things. I told you about the bike lady. I told you about my free entry, and now we have 2 more things. The first comes right before the second half begins. I turn around in my wheelchair, and I look up into this sectioned off place where the seats have cushions. And I fire off a question. I say, hey, are these assigned seats? And these 2 kids, they go, no, they're not assigned seats. But then I look to the left, trying to get as much intel as I can. And these old people, I'm telling you, it's always old people with just a frown on their face. They look at me and say, no, you can't come and sit here. And I didn't say anything. I just waited for them to explain why. And he says, you need that. It's exclusive. You need this pass. You need this. And I'm thinking in my head, like, watch me. I don't need no pass. I'm going to come up there and sit right in that seat. But I didn't because, if they don't want you there, don't go. But I do decide, hey, I'm tired of standing here. It's freezing cold. I don't want to stand. I want to watch this game and I want to watch it in style. I'm coming for everything and more. I want to left here. I want to leave this venue feeling like I robbed the place and I could do it 6 million times more. So I go up into the bleachers. They have like on one side of the field, they have this pretty big, overall there's probably 10,000 people and probably 4,000 of those seats resided in this big, there's like concrete. It's like concrete. It's not just bleachers. It's like, it's really a stadium, like it creates shelter underneath. Like it's truly it doesn't span the entire width of the field, but it's definitely pretty tall. And I get up there and I just, I feel like I can't be stopped. So I walk up the stairs and I'm asking, is this seat taken? Is this seat taken? Everyone's saying yes. Everyone's saying yes. And I'm like, I know I'm going to get one if I just keep asking. And then I go to the different section and I walk up and I'm like, this guy has 3 seats next to him, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. And he's like this young kid. And I look at him and I'm like, is anybody sitting here and here? Are these seats taken? And he looks back at me. And this guy isn't even old. He's probably younger than me with a stank face. And he goes, all these seats are taken. I'm like, oh, hell nah. Oh, hell nah. And wouldn't you know it, right behind him, I point, I don't even have to say nothing. And the guy's like, yeah, you could sit here. Bam, bruh, got a seat. And it's like the best seat in the house. I'm dead middle in the field. I get to see everything. Turns out they lost that game. That's whatever. But that's the end of my story, really. That's the end. Okay, at the 16-minute mark, now we're going to transition to what my plans are. This isn't actually that interesting. My plans are simply put to walk from Charlotte to Wilmington. I want to do it with a positive attitude. I want to do it with lots of mileage daily. And I want to do it for the viewer, if that makes sense. And with all that being said, this is the end of this episode. I'm going to post this link to Patreon as well as, I'm going to post this link to Patreon. I'll probably put this on Instagram also, but yeah. All right, peace.